The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report, TV and radio. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Live from the 540 ESPN studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this is the Pro Wrestling Report with David Hero, Frank Cosentino, Linda Kay, and your host, Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live on Monday night, July 18, 2011. Damian Nelson here along with the Cos, and David Octavius Hero. And Linda Kay is in Green Bay, Wisconsin at Monday Night Raw, which just went off the air with, well, you know, it's been one hell of a 24 hours in professional wrestling. I apologize for my voice cracking because over the last couple of nights we've been at a couple of wrestling events, and I tend to be a bit of a fan, so I was cheering for The Miz.
Cheering? Oh, my God.
But tonight, we go into Raw with a brand new WWE champion in CM Punk. We go into Raw with a Money in the Bank winner in Alberto Del Rio.
But you already knew that.
We go into Raw with a fired John Cena.
He was never fired.
We come out of Raw tonight with a Vince McMahon who has been relieved of his duties in WWE. A lot to talk about. The number, 414-276-3776. That's 414-276-ESPN. And all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. You know, we obviously talked a lot about the new WWE champion, CM Punk, last night in the post-show for Money in the Bank. And David Hero, we speculated as to whether or not that was a game changer. Little did we know the pun that may have been intended, because tonight, truly a game changer, and there's no doubt that in some way, shape, or form, there was some realism to Triple H taking the reins of WWE from Vince McMahon.
This entire CM Punk work shoot promo from 3 weeks ago all the way through last night, him winning and leaving with the belt, it wasn't about CM Punk and John Cena. It was about Triple H replacing Vince McMahon. That's the bait and switch, Damian Nelson, that you talked about earlier. It wasn't not seeing the finals of the World Championship match. It's that they laid the groundwork with Punk and Cena to get Vince out. And I don't know true or false or whatnot, but I honestly believe we truly did see the changing of the guard in Green Bay, Wisconsin tonight. I'm sure Vince will stay on as an advisor, but day-to-day operations, it is Triple H and Stephanie.
Strange 24 hours. You got to put that into perspective. Is it too much information? Too much? You had a lot going on with CM Punk, a lot of positive stuff with an awesome pay-per-view. You have an uneven Raw, like where are they going with this? And then you have this at the end.
You know what's funny? Everyone says that Triple H is the guy that always buries the guy that's super hot. 24 hours ago, the world was talking about CM Punk.
Right.
Who came on tonight? And now, I mean, CM Punk is now story number 2. You know, within 24 hours, Triple H once again has done it. He has made it about himself and Vince. You know how they say that no one's bigger than the company?
Right.
Those two guys are still the biggest guys in the company.
I'm not sure that's fair. I'm not sure it's fair to say, if you are saying that Triple H deliberately came out to take the steam off of CM Punk, especially since you started by saying that that's where that whole thing was going. The fact is CM Punk's taking time off, right? Whether
Right.
he comes back to WWE or not is still up in the air. You believe he's signed. I don't believe he is.
I believe he is signed.
And no matter what,
Damian,
it is a bigger...
They are not going to let a guy unsigned leave with their biggest prize in the sport.
I don't believe he has a long-term contract. I don't believe he has anything longer than a week, a multi-week, if not a couple-of-month agreement.
There's no... Listen, this whole storyline was done for tonight. It wasn't done for last night. It was done for what happened in Green Bay, Wisconsin 5 minutes ago. It was done for Triple H taking over for Vince. It wasn't about CM Punk The whole thing
But it
was
was
laid
about
out.
CM Punk.
But he was the pawn. He was the guy that delivered the message.
But the fans gravitated to him. The fans enjoyed it. So,
but how could they not? How could the fans not enjoy somebody going out there and ripping apart Triple H, Johnny Ace, Vince McMahon, Stephanie, the entire McMahon family, making fun of John Cena, which 80% of everyone over the age of 18 doesn't like him to begin with. You know? So what they did, it was brilliant. I mean, this is how the good stuff always works out this way. You think you're getting, what's behind door one,
right?
But door two always has the better prize, and that's what happened tonight.
Monty Hall.
Absolutely.
I'm torn because there was so much momentum building off of last night.
But the momentum is still there.
Is it? It's a different storyline.
What were people saying during Raw all night tonight on Twitter and on Facebook? This is boring. How dare them? They can't even follow up on the greatness that was last night. Blah 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 blah.
Nothing could follow up the greatness that was last night.
Exactly.
That comes along once every 10 or 15 years.
There is no patience. There was no patience. This will trump the Punk story, but the Punk story is still out there. He wasn't stripped of the title tonight. That was never said, unless I missed something. So you still have that whole scenario to play out.
Yeah.
When CM Punk does come back to WWE, there will be two WWE champions. CM Punk
they'll do a
and The Miz.
Ramon, Shawn Michaels ladder. It's not going to be The Miz. You know what? It might, because now that he has a week to recover from that knee injury, boy, Green Bay really kind of got screwed tonight.
Did they or didn't they? They saw something that we've never seen.
Green Bay, Wisconsin, the only place where Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, and Vince McMahon stood in the same ring at the same time together tonight.
Trump.
Then exactly, Donald Trump with the commercial-free Raw.
Money.
And also now tonight they see the departure, at least for these purposes, on Raw tonight of Vince McMahon.
No, and it was because, think about it, CM Punk said how Vince wasn't running the company properly.
Right.
They set the groundwork.
Yeah. Maybe set the table for it. Makes sense. I'm going to give Vince McMahon and Triple H a lot of credit tonight. For Vince McMahon to come out and basically cry like that, that
was real.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was real. Vince is not an actor like that. But I honestly believe that they did completely pass the torch. And they did it in a storyline, but I believe Vince he'll always be a part of that company, but as far as they gave Triple H an amazing office. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Would you predict then we'll see more of Triple H in the next weeks and months?
Absolutely, as an on-air character, because he's going to try to, fix the mess.
As a face or a heel?
Oh, he's the baby face. He's Triple H.
But there's no doubt, though, that Vince McMahon's going to be, and I quote, trying to get his company back. It's almost like another invasion thing. Why wouldn't he? He's just going to, that's it. He's just going to say goodbye and be done.
Because the family doesn't have faith in him anymore. You know what? He's going to give his baby girl, the billion-dollar princess, and her charming husband,
Pops,
a chance to run the company. It's all been set up. We didn't see it. We heard rumblings that Triple H was going to become more active, but
Well, but they have been. Let's not pretend like they haven't been basically running the company. Granted, Vince McMahon's still the CEO and the decision maker, but Stephanie and Triple H have been pretty much running the company.
Well, I will say this: Triple H dropped the ball on Sin Cara. That was his first big signing.
No, the ball got dropped on Sin Cara when somewhere or another you got that picture taken with him Saturday at the Bradley Center here in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You all should not have gone out partying that night. I'm glad I went home and was the responsible one, the smart one.
You know what? You were along with us with Sin Cara.
There is no evidence. Hey,
yeah.
Stop. Hey, don't you remember? Ever since that Riley incident, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to.
Right. Wow. I can't. You know what? I can't believe it, but I can believe it because it was self-serving.
Really? I still can't buy that.
Okay, wait a minute. What would have been better? The Ray match with Miz to end it, and we have a champion, or this?
Oh, this was better. This is buzzworthy. This is the next step
This
from
will be
last
on
night.
TMZ tomorrow, because now they're wrestling reporters all of a sudden.
Exactly. And what's next? Will there be an actual official announcement from WWE?
Absolutely.
Who's going to be doing?
.com.
Who's going to be? No. What I mean is, they get in trouble for this kind of stuff because they've got to clear it up with their shareholders and and all that.
Right.
So if this is true,
Oh, it's true.
And again, if it's all the way true as said tonight, there'll be a press release. There'll be an official announcement. Next time they announce their earnings, which I believe is coming up in a couple of weeks, then that would be not Vince McMahon.
But he's going to stay on as an advisor.
Right, but he's not if he is the CEO of WWE,
right.
Dave.
I know.
He is in charge.
Yes.
If he is being relieved of that role, they have to officially announce that.
It's a publicly traded company.
They ran a storyline when he died, when he got blown up.
I know.
They got in trouble for that.
I know. But let's not forget that he's not being forced out. He's stepping down.
Either way, they gotta announce.
No, right, but you're making it sound like, well, they're going to say he's been, pushed out. No,
I'm not making it sound like that at all. I'm just saying that they have an obligation to make a formal announcement.
And they will.
And an SEC filing.
And they will.
As to if this is true or not. So that'll be the real indicators. I didn't want to get that deep into it, but that'll be the indicators going forward as to how real this is. And I still disagree. I don't think this was about Triple H. I think it was more so about the next step.
It wasn't about CM Punk. It wasn't about John Cena.
Exactly, it was not. But I think it was about the next step for World Wrestling Entertainment.
Right. Eventually, that had to happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about the timing of it.
Timing is perfect. Everything is going smoothly right now. It is. Things are going to be very interesting.
The ratings will prove that.
Well, believe me, people are going to tune in next week to see what happens now.
Well, on Twitter, David Hero, we've got apparently the smartest man in professional wrestling. His name is Bocephus Jenkins. Says, "Please stop acting like this isn't a storyline." Wow, guys, how does he know what's really going on?
Maybe
it's not a storyline.
He must be following you, Frank, on Twitter.
I'll find out soon.
Frank, yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to be doing a special on this in the next few weeks on Primetime. Some of the best
on Twitter?
Absolutely not. Some of the best worked. It might break like it did tonight. Some of the best worked shoots that we've ever seen. This whole CM Punk thing is a bit of a work shoot. True, David?
Absolutely.
This whole Vince McMahon Triple H thing, at this point, seemingly is a bit of a work shoot.
How does CM Punk feel knowing he was the guy that Vince McMahon handpicked to set this whole ball, in motion? He could have picked anybody.
He knew exactly what was going on tonight?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. No question. He was an integral part of this entire process.
We'll give you the title in front of your home fans. Here's what's going to happen tomorrow night.
In the last 20 years, the best things to happen to the professional wrestling business have been on that line between reality and entertainment. This is yet another chapter in that evolution of this business with the outside influence such as the internet and such as the exposure of what the wrestling business is, which is entertainment. This is a newsworthy item. This, coupled on top of last night's Money in the Bank, coupled on top of the fact that there is no WWE champion. WWE, I think, did capture that momentum of last night and kept it going tonight. And do I think one person
or for a second?
They absolutely did, but didn't they have to lose it to get it back at the end like that?
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
It was very well played by WWE, I think. We've got several of you waiting on hold. Again, as the phone lines clear up, you can dial in the number 414-276-ESPN or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report.
Call early, call often.
We're waiting for Linda Kay to call in. She's up at the arena in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Give us a little update there. So we're going to drop the line, Stillman, and give Linda a chance to call in. And if you're on hold, you'll have to give us a call back later. As we're doing that, we're going to take our first time out of the evening. And when we come back, we'll go to our first fan-submitted theme song, David Hero, from our Facebook page. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Awesome! I came to play. There's a price to pay. Time for you to get down on your knees and pray. You can say goodbye to the good old days. You're never coming back. Watch the future fade. I came to play. Get my due pay. I guess you had a dream, but it can't hide it.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live Monday night, July 18, 2011. Damian Nelson along with the Cos and David Octavius, the Tiberius Hero. Cos, we missed you last week.
Yeah.
You were in Butte?
Billings, Montana.
Butte? Oh, Billings is the other city.
Yeah.
I wonder if we have any listeners in Montana.
We do.
Do people just put a moose in their front yard and that's how you get radio there?
A moose?
Well, they have
a lot
antenna.
There's a lot of foil.
Wow.
Well, the lovely Linda Kay, the social media diva, is not here with us tonight, but she was in Green Bay. And we're going to go now to Linda, who's joining us on the phone line. Linda, lovely Linda Kay.
What's going on?
Raw in Green Bay, Wisconsin. What was it like watching Vince McMahon be relieved of his duties?
It was tremendous.
So you're happy?
Oh, just the whole night overall. I mean, if you felt the electricity in the Rush Arena, I mean, it was awesome.
Well, Linda, obviously, thank you so much for calling in. We're going to try to maintain some social media order here. We've already got some people misbehaving on Twitter. We're going to try to maintain some social media order here. Thank you so much for calling in from up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, a now historic venue, the Resch Center. Linda calling in and joining us live. Thank you for that. We're going to be going to a lot of your phone calls as well. And we had a lot of you call in last night. To be part of the post show. Yes, Tillman. To be part of the post show. That we didn't quite get to because we had a lot of you calling in. So let's go to the phones now, and we'll give you an opportunity to speak. 414-276-ESPN, 414-276-ESPN, 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. Let's go to our first caller, KC, down in Mobile, Alabama. You're live.
Hey, good day, gentlemen. How y'all doing today, man?
Tremendous.
Real quick question. I want to know from all y'all if this storyline is actually a mixture of reality and storyline. How do y'all feel Triple H actually taking the spot of Vince McMahon, and will he do a good job?
Thank you very much for that call, Casey, down in Mobile. There's one final say in WWE, and that's Vince McMahon, or at least it was, or will still be. We'll find out. That ain't going to change. There's still one person who's making the ultimate decisions. But at the same time, it's a collaborative effort. What do they got? 400, 500 employees. It's not one person doing everything. So while you may see some directional changes if this is legit, I don't know what the big difference is going to be because they're doing things in the McMahon mode now.
Some of the things I've heard is that Triple H is actually pretty well liked in the back by a lot of the talent, and they feel that if they go to him with problems, he'll be more apt to listen and maybe make some changes because he has that in common. As far as being talents and on the road and travel and family and whatnot. I think this might be something good because eventually you can't relate anymore with the wrestling fans.
Right.
Like with football, they go through so many coaches because they can't relate with the players anymore. Same thing's happening right now. I don't think Vince McMahon understands this new group of superstars that he has.
Exactly. It is a mixture of realism and storyline. Eventually, he had to pass the torch to somebody at some point, and I think you're right.
Why not the guy that gave him 3 grandkids?
There you go. But as far as how well it's going to work, boy, who knows? I mean, that is up in the air. It's up to you fans to make that decision. By merchandise, by ratings, by everything to show if it works or not. So Triple H has a lot of work to do, but like you mentioned, Dame, there's 400 so employees there. It's not one person saying, yeah, hit the red button, we're good.
Speaking of the red button, let's hit it on John in Philadelphia. You're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Oh, hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello, John.
Yeah, this infuriated me. This completely enraged me. I'm sorry.
You're hot. Say you're hot, John.
This is completely irrelevant. I mean, you go last week and last night, which, by the way, last night's match was probably the best match I've seen since Triple H and John Cena at WrestleMania 22. The height, the emotion, the heat on everything was amazing. To go from that to this, what a drop-off. I mean, this Raw was so irrelevant. Nobody cares. You have the whitest, hot talent in the business. Gone. He's not even at the show. At least make an appearance. And the whole night talking about John Cena. Nobody cares about this guy anymore. Nobody.
There are a lot of red shirts in that audience tonight.
John, you tuned in tonight to see the continuation of the story with CM Punk, correct?
Yeah.
Are you going to tune in next week to see if something else develops with CM Punk now that Triple H is in charge, at least on TV, of WWE?
Hell no. That was inevitable.
You're not?
Nope.
Why wouldn't you?
It was inevitable. It's going to happen sometime.
No. If you're looking for CM Punk and the end of the story with CM Punk and what's next with CM Punk, with Vince McMahon gone and the issues being between Vince McMahon and CM Punk, wouldn't you naturally want to think or want to tune in to see what Triple H's perspective on this might be next week on Raw? What the point I'm getting at is you're going to tune in, you're going to want to still see what's going on with Punk. I don't think they've crapped on anything that they did with Punk. What I think is they've extended that story another week, if not longer, because they still have to answer all those questions as it pertains to CM Punk. They, again, never stripped him of the title tonight. I think that's a newsworthy item.
And there was no new champion crowned tonight either.
Exactly. I think they opened the door wider
to bring
for what
Punk
might
back
happen
next
next
week.
with CM Punk.
Absolutely.
I hope so. Because this guy is white hot, and I hope they don't take the rug out from under him.
Hopefully not. Thank you very much for that call,
true.
John, out in Philadelphia. You know, it's a two-way street. And, CM Punk's got to play. WWE's got to play.
Well, it's been
Damian Nelson, CM Punk is under contract.
You've seen it?
You're going to drive me nuts over there tonight.
You've seen it?
No, but I know he is. There's no question about it.
Wait,
All right.
The last thing that Vince said was to Ray, you're going to have your match next week. Well, I guess maybe not anymore if he's no longer making those decisions.
Anything can happen.
Right?
Anything can happen.
He is signed.
Whether he's signed or not, it doesn't matter. He's not there. He's not going to be there for a period of time, whether it be 1 week, a month, 4 months, 6 months, whatever it may be.
Yeah, but he's not going anywhere else.
We'll see how that all turns out.
He can show up in Ring of Honor. That's fine. Man, who knows? Maybe Vince owns part of Ring of Honor. Maybe Vince is going to go work for Ring of Honor. Who knows? But CM Punk is signed to a WWE contract. But you already knew that.
Oh, actually, nobody does but CM Punk and WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, Frank, are you still doing that online lawyer stuff?
I will
Maybe they presented it to you.
You know what, though, Damian? I got to get this in quick. Speaking of online lawyer stuff, Saturday, July 30th, the Casablanca Rumble 2 GLCW Brady Street Days Festival. And then Thursday, August 4th, Ozaki County Fair, Road Dogg Billy,
Nice.
Al Snow, Scotty, Tracy. Go to blizzardbrawl.com for 2 huge GLCW shows coming up.
Let's go to Adam in Columbus on line 3. Adam, you're live.
Hey, guys. How's Milwaukee?
Fantastic.
How's Columbus?
It's hot. It's very hot down here. I was, watching tonight and kind of, sorting out how I feel. To see Vince, be removed of his duties, whether it be storyline or real or not, has got me kind of thinking about how long Vince has been an on-air character and how a lot of the most important moments in wrestling of the last 20 years has been around Vince McMahon, and to see him kind of moved out of the picture, it kind of really has this it's kind of a sad feeling, but I can feel like this reset is happening in the company. To go from last night, which was amazing for the industry with CM Punk and John Cena, to tonight to see this transition that we all know has, at least in some shape or form, taken place in real life with Triple H and Vince. I just really like where this is going, but it's kind of surreal to see Vince removed from power.
Well, Adam, thank you very much for that call. The one thing that's reality here is WWE has been in a state of flux for the last, call it, 5 years. They haven't really built any huge new stars. They haven't recreated anybody to the level of Hogan, The Rock, The Ultimate Warrior, Stone Cold Steve Austin, whoever it may be. John Cena's the closest they've come. And
they built one with CM Punk on it last night.
Well, I think you need more time to really give him that qualification.
I right now would put Punk on the same level as John Cena.
What if that match?
No. Okay. I'll give you that.
What if that match wasn't in Chicago last night? would have been
a whole different story.
No, I don't know, because they were going nuts for Punk in Boston last week, and that was Cena's hometown.
True. WWE's been in a state of flux. They have to make a fundamental change to the way they're doing things.
Flux, isn't that what Sin Cara got busted for?
The flux.
That's what Frankie Kazarian said on Twitter today.
Capacitor.
They have to make a fundamental change to what they're doing. They have to reignite the business. They're not making as much money as they used to. And the only reason they are actually doing better profitability-wise is because they've cut expenses, which is what everybody's doing now and blaming it on the economy and saying that's why they can't create jobs. It's a bunch of crap. But that's the only way they're being any way successful. WrestleMania got 1 million buys because of who?
The Rock.
It wasn't because of anybody else.
Whoa! Finally!
It definitely wasn't because of Del Rio.
Has admitted it wasn't about the Miz.
And now they've taken it a year in advance with The Rock.
Yeah. So they've got to do something to fundamentally shake up their business. Whether it's actually a change between Vince McMahon and Triple H is not the actual story here. The story is what WWE has done for the last 3 weeks. This escalation of CM Punk. Now the real-life drama, if you will, playing out in the ring between Triple H and Vince McMahon. The focus on Cena, but the focus on those who don't like Cena as well, they are, I think, changing a lot of their core philosophies as far as what they're doing with their programming each week, and the fans are enjoying it, and the fans are talking about it, including those of you who are saying, tonight it sucked. Well, for some of you it did, but for a lot of others, it probably didn't. Right. And that's the odd place to be when you're presenting entertainment, because you're never going to satisfy everybody.
You know what was one of the strange things that we haven't really talked about is when Triple H walked up the ramp and stopped and turned back and sneered at Vince, but it was an emotional, sad, but almost like gotcha kind of sneer. That kind of leaves a little bit wide open, too.
It does. The object, obviously, you talked about core philosophies. That one of those cores is profitability.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to make it profitable, and you've got to give sometimes what the fans maybe not, they might not want.
It's a real issue.
But as long as you talk about it the next week, and you continue to talk about, hey, did you see what happened? Now I have to see what happens next week. That's tough. It's tough to work out, and some fans are upset, as one of our callers was. Wait a minute, what happened to CM Punk?
But they're reacting.
Exactly.
And they're tweeting, and they're Facebooking, and they're going to be emailing and calling and TMZing and the whole thing about it for next week until next Monday Night Raw.
And I can't believe you sent out all those tweets earlier, David Hero, # save Cena. Really?
Well,
you?
He's the leader of the Super Friends.
We're going to take another time out.
Points.
We've got Ron in D.C., a caller in Los Angeles, and in Michigan, waiting on hold. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Missed an episode on the Pro Wrestling Report? Thanks, pal. Subscribe to the show on iTunes and take the show with you wherever you go, even in the bathroom.
Camera action. Go! You already know what it is. It's your boy C, right?
540 ESPN.
Biscuits and gravy. Maybe a man. Oh, biscuits and gravy.
I'm convinced this is done just to drive me absolutely freaking nuts. I mean, really, who wants to hear this song?
John Leonard, one of our friends and fans and listeners
John
to the show
Leonard
on
Skinner,
Facebook.
that's probably the guy that listened that would pick this song.
And Cody Jen picking the Miz's theme, which was the first theme we used in
I can
each week.
understand that because he's a super friend, but really?
On Facebook, you guys get to select the themes that we will play during this program tonight.
Maybe more Leonard Skinner.
Speaking of this program tonight, unfortunately, due to some station obligations, the Brewers game will be over in just a little while, and we're going to invite Fish in here to do the post show, and for the
Fish loves wrestling too. By the way,
he does love wrestling, so I'm pretty sure there'll be some wrestling discussion.
We'll try and get into the 1, 2, 3 Kids theme during.
There's no doubt he will. Vintage Fish. So we do apologize in advance for that. However, lots of discussion last night on the post show from Chicago's Allstate Arena about WWE Money in the Bank, and we will have a brand new edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV. There's no doubt. There's no doubt we're going to go a full hour, if not more, on primetime this week, talking about everything there is there.
You're not going to wear that ridiculous, awesome hat Are you?
This was a great ad.
Oh, my God. So embarrassing.
I mean, it just says everything that sums up what both me
Here
and
we
The Miz are.
The
I'm
superstars
awesome.
that we are get great TV time on the Money in the Bank last night, and you're wearing an I'm Awesome hat. I don't know. Priorities there, Nelson.
Let's go to another phone caller. Let's go to a caller from Washington, D.C. Ron, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
How you fellas are doing this evening? Damien, Del Hero, Frank, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Tremendous. What do you have for us?
That's great. Like I said before last night, I'm kind of upset because I had to go through capital punishment.
Oh, you're not going to do this rant again, are you now?
But I'm not going to go through. I'm not
okay.
going to go through it. But because that pay-per-view last night was just, it was great. I really got my money's worth. That $50 was well spent.
Frank spent $50 and got his in Spanish last night.
At times.
And that's right. But that was a great pay-per-view from beginning to end. It was very good. I mean, of course, the Divas match, but Mark Henry and Big Show really showed a really great match. It was a really good match for what they put on. They totally went out there. They totally put on a hell of a show out there. Of course, the Money in the Bank. My man Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank. Alberto Del Rio becomes Mr. Money in the Bank at Raw. And Christian becomes the world champion. And I'm not big on disqualifications on a pay-per-view, but I accepted it. I really accepted it because it pretty much prolonged the storyline. We might have a finish of that storyline, hopefully, at SummerSlam, the biggest event of the year, the biggest party of the summer. And, of course, John Cena and CM Punk pretty much, in my view, the pay-per-view was already great.
So you give it a pass. You give the pay-per-view a passing grade.
I give it a straight A across the board.
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much for that call, Ron, from out in Washington, D.C. And speaking of Money in the Bank, it wasn't just about CM Punk last night. Well, arguably maybe it was, but we did have two Money in the Bank winners in Alberto Del Rio and Daniel Bryan. We had a superstar, I think, be solidified in Cody Rhodes last night during that SmackDown Money in the Bank matchup. Also, Kelly retains the Divas Championship. Mark Henry gets a decisive victory over the Big Show last night.
Do you know who
Christian
proved out
is
to
the
be a
new
stud?
World Heavyweight Champion.
Sheamus was the stud last night. He looked awesome in that ladder match.
He did very well. The whole pay-per-view was excellent.
I really can't think, and now we've had 24 hours to think about it, I really can't think of the last pay-per-view that was that good. Now, last year's Money in the Bank.
Hogan Rock.
WrestleMania 18. I think we're going a little too far back.
Toronto, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people likened this pay-per-view atmosphere to that of a non-major pay-per-view, to that of the Invasion pay-per-view back in 2001, which was one of WWE's most bought pay-per-views, did almost 800,000 buys in July of 2001. And the buzz surrounding Money in the Bank was definitely there at that level, and people really wanted to know what was going on. David Hero, we were live, not only in the Bradley Center, Milwaukee, Saturday night for the Super Show, but also at Money in the Bank in the arena there. It is normally down the middle, 50-50, Cena fans versus whoever else he's wrestling. It was very interesting to hear
95-5.
the Cena chants when they started. Let's go, Cena! Cena sucks. Let's go, Cena!
It got to the point where they had to turn up Cena's volume on his theme music when he got in the ring.
But Cena played it oh so well, as did everybody else at Money in the Bank. This conversation is going to continue on this week's Primetime TV. Our sincerest apologies for the shortness of this show on a very important night in professional wrestling. However, got to do what you got to do, and we do appreciate you tuning in to the post-show last night where we talked in-depthly about Money in the Bank, and we will talk more about this exciting week of wrestling, including a new TNA champion this Thursday on Primetime Television. Because Triple H is in charge of WWE. Does it make you more or less excited about next week's programming?
I'm excited, and you guys got to watch and tune in. But more importantly, tune in at pwrshow.com.
David Hero, CM Punk now has seemingly an opportunity back in to WWE. Does that get you excited about next week's programming?
Oh, it makes me ecstatic.
We'll see what happens with the new reign over World Wrestling Entertainment, at least on television, and maybe beyond that. Triple H, Paul Levesque, is now the man.
It's Paul McMahon.
Well, I didn't
took
think marriage went
Stephanie's
that way.
name.
You can't do that.
He did.
On TV. Thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report here on 540 ESPN. We'll see you next Monday night, right here on ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Tonight's the night to get crazy. T-Pipe got it locked with a passion. Ready for the light.